Hello pal, welcome to day 3 of the Advent Yoga series. Today's class is going to be focused on tabletop, but unlike furniture, we're going to be moving about, getting into the shoulders, the wrists and the hips. So without further ado, I'll see you on the mat. Okay, let's jump straight into our tabletop position. So coming onto our hands and our knees, fingers pointing forwards, hands shoulders distance apart, and we're stacking our wrists underneath our elbows, and which is underneath our shoulders. So one line from the shoulders to the wrists. And then we want to bring our knees underneath our hips. And we want to make sure our shins are parallel with each other. So toes can be curled under, or you can place them flat on the ground. I prefer them to be flat on the ground for me, but it's dealer's choice really. Okay, and let's start to draw some circles with the shoulders over the wrists. So you might even want to close your eyes for this part and just observe the sensations and feeling the weight of the upper body come into the hands, the outer edges of the hands. We're going slow here. And in terms of breathing, we're breathing in and out through the nose. And if you remember yesterday's class on Ujjayi breathing, which is the gentle constriction in the back of the throat, you're welcome to connect to that now. Let's do 2 more circles in this direction. And then let's reverse it. Okay, so coming round, well, just flip the direction that you are going. And feel where your finger pads are in contact with the ground. Your knuckle pads in contact with the ground. And the heel of your hand in contact with the ground. So we typically want about 60% of our weight to be supported through the fingers and the knuckles of the hands, and then the remaining to be in the heel of the hands. When I first started doing yoga, I was really relying on pressing really firmly into the heel of the hand, and that's not really utilizing the full potential of the hand and the fingers. It's a really powerful part of the body to be not utilizing. Okay, let's pause that there, and let's turn the fingers out so they're pointing out to the side, and let's just move our shoulders side to side. In my typical day-to-day, I don't tend to rest much weight on my hands. So when I first started doing yoga and I wasn't properly warming up my wrists, I was really feeling the strain, not just in my hands and wrists, but also in my forearms as well. So I quickly learned to properly warm up my wrists before having to rest too much weight on it. And that's really helped prevent a lot of injury, I think, for me. Okay, let's even it out on both sides and come back through center. And let's just turn our hands so our fingers are pointing towards our knees. Okay, curl the back toes under and start to lift or shift the hips back towards the heels. The heels of the hands can lift up. Let's shift forwards, and shift back. You can even bend your elbows if you need to. Taking it really lightly here. Careful not to go too quickly and cause some strain. But it's really important to warm up the wrists and the hands. Coming forwards, shoulders over wrists. Then let's turn the hands back to point forwards, or the fingers to point forwards. Okay. and let's come into some cat-cows. So from here, press into the hands, press into the tops of the feet. Start to inhale, lift the tailbone, drop the belly, and as you press into the hands, pull the chest through the arms and lift the chin. This is cow. And then as you exhale, bring the chin into chest, lift the back up towards the sky, the heart into the chest, belly in, dropping the tailbone. This is cat. So it's kind of like a cat that's been dropped into water and it's curling up the spine. Inhaling, dropping the belly, pulling the chest through, lifting the chin, cow. Exhale, chin to chest, chest up, belly in, dropping the tailbone. Inhale, coming into cow. Exhale, reversing, coming into cat. So let's do a few more according to your own breath. And feeling the motion of the spine come up from the tailbone as you inhale, and reversing that as you exhale. So cat-cows are a really good way of warming up the spine, moving it in both flexion and extension. And we typically experience this at the start of class or start of some vinyasa classes. And because it is just a great way to get the spine up and running, loosening out any tension there might be. Let's do 2 more according to your own breath. And when you're done, let's meet in a tabletop, a neutral table. So neither cat nor cow, it's this, the spine is in between. And let's curl the back toes under and walk our hands back and sit onto our heels. So let's bring our hands into fists and roll them out. So when we're resting a lot of weight onto our hands, or when you're first getting used to resting weight on your hands, it can be quite strenuous. So if you feel like you need to, just ease off, sit on your heels, or even sit onto the tops of the feet if that's a bit too much. And just roll out your hands, maybe even just use your thumbs to press into the forearms and the heels of the hands. Giving yourself a light massage. Should feel quite nice to just loosen that up. Okay, so when you're ready, let's come back into the tabletop position. I'll give you a breath or two to set yourself up. So bringing your shoulders underneath your wrists underneath your shoulders, and your knees underneath your hips. Okay, we just did a cat-cow, and we're gonna just break out from that and just sway our hips side to side, bringing our gaze along with our movement, just moving about in any way that feels good for you. So there's no real position or form that you need to take. Just move in a way that feels good. So I like to get into my hips a little bit, feel some pops and cracks in that hip joint. Also move my shoulders in some ways. Some of these shapes don't have to be symmetrical. So just finding a moment or two just to explore any organic movement that you might have or feel that you want to take a moment to sit in. And relaxing the jaw and softening the area between the forehead, the elbows, none of that, the eyebrows. Brain fart there. Okay, so let's take one more breath. Just moving the hips about, the shoulders about, and coming back into our tabletop. Let's curl the toes under, and we're going to start to wake up the core. So press into your hands and lift the heart into the back of the chest, and start to press into the feet and lift the knees about an inch off the ground. And imagine as if there's a block or a couple of bricks in between the thighs, and we're squeezing the thighs towards each other. Bring your belly button into your spine. pressing into your hands, maybe lift the knees up another inch. Might start to feel a shake or more than a few shakes. That's your internal fire being lit up. Breathing steady, don't clench your jaw. Let's take 5 more seconds here. 3, 2, 1. Lower the knees. Whew. Let's sit back on your heels and let's sway out the hands. Roll out the wrists. And let's come into some balancing. So again, we're coming into our tabletop. Straighten the right leg behind you and start to rock forwards and backwards. Adjust your stance if you need to. Okay, we're going to keep a small kind of bend in our elbows to make sure we're not locking out the elbows. Okay, let's rock forwards, bringing our shoulders over our wrists and lift the back leg up from the inner thigh. So you can take a peek back and make sure your toes are pointing downwards and your hips are relatively even. So we don't want our hips to be opening out. We want them to be facing downwards. Okay. We're going to start to lean our way over towards the right hand and coming light on the left fingertips. Let's reach the left hand forwards, bringing our bicep by our ear. We're looking down, eyes fixed, breathing steady, reaching our arm forward, pressing our foot back, inhaling. As we exhale, just lower the left hand down and bring the right foot round over towards the left, planting it outside the mat. And then let's walk our hands about a hand over towards the left and taking a peek back at our foot or our butt. And take a moment to just compliment your own butt. One more breath. Feel the stretch from your right foot up towards your right ear. And let's come back. Okay, walk your hand back, lift the right leg up and place it down. Okay, let's stretch the left leg and rock forwards and back, waking up the backs of the legs, the Achilles tendon. Okay, bringing our shoulders over our wrists, let's start to lift the left leg up towards hip height, taking a moment to peek back, making sure the toes are pressing down and the foot is pressing back as if there's a wall behind you and you're pressing back. Okay, from here let's shift slightly over towards the left, coming light onto our right hand, and if possible let's reach the right hand forwards, our bicep by ear, eyes fixed on somewhere on the ground. Reach the foot back, reach the right hand forwards, take a deep breath in, belly in towards spine, engaging the core. And then let's lower our right hand down and place our left foot out to the right side of the mat. Walking our hands a hand print over towards the right. Gazing at your left foot or even your right butt. Complementing that butt. Okay, and let's come back through center, lifting that leg and placing it down into tabletop. Going back onto our heels and rolling out the wrists one more time. Okay, let's come into a comfortable seated position and then bring both hands together and roll out the wrists in one direction. Well, interlace our hands and roll out the wrists in one direction. And then reverse that. Okay, and then let's bring, using our left hand, wrap the right hand around the left wrist, squeeze it tight, and then pull the skin down. And then make a fist with your left hand and start to roll your wrist or your left hand in one direction. You can feel the back skin stretch like this. So reverse it, reverse the direction. Okay, and then let's switch. So grab onto your right wrist with your left hand, squeeze tightly and pull the skin down. Okay, and then bring your right hand into a fist and roll it in one direction. Okay, and reverse that direction. Okay, let's relax that and then bring in our hands down. So that's it again for today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Namaste.